Hello everyone. So today, I guess with the help of my buddy Dwayne over there, what we're going to be doing today is a Poison Spyder hood louver. So that is the one we are going to be putting on. Got my hood off already. Basically all we've got to do is just take the footman's loop, these bumpers off. We'll get that off and get our template set out here and we'll get this all started. But I figured this will probably only take us a couple hours to do. It's pretty self-explanatory as far as the directions and whatnot, but we will be doing a detailed instruction on how to do this just to make it a whole lot easier. There seems to be lots of videos out there showing how to do this, but not much detail on them. So we're going to do this a little bit more detailed just so that you get a better idea on how to do it and things of that sort. So let's get going at this. So when you get these bumpers off, basically all you need to do is take a pair of needle nose pliers, pinch that in, have somebody on top just to pull them out, or if you can push them down up through the hood, that's going to come out that way. Obviously you've got these, that's a 9mm bolt, and then all you got to do on your little squirters there for the windshield washers, it's the same sort of thing. You just got to squeeze the tabs and push it up through. You'll have to disconnect some of the hoses as well to get everything out. But what we'll do is we'll get the template down and we'll... Okay, so basically what we're doing now, we've got everything all cut out. Basically what Dwayne's doing here is he's just cutting out the hole for where the windshield bumpers go. So we'll get that out. You actually got to use those to kind of center everything. So when you kind of, get everything together, it just makes everything a little bit easier. Everything's lined up a little bit better. Okay, now that we've got, you can see here, we've got the template all taped down. We do have it tight so that we can get everything kind of going from there. Now we've got to take basically a punch. We're going to punch all the holes, all the crosshairs, and then basically we'll take this back off and we'll get this cut out and we'll kind of go from there. So you just watch them here. It's an automatic punch, so it's going to be really, this is what is suggested by Poison Spyder as well, because there's less chance of actually denting the hood. If you take a hammer and beat that, when you get out to the outer edge here, there's a good chance that you could possibly dent the hood in that respect. So you just don't want to do that. But as you can see, it's all going here pretty good. Inside corner.
You get these as well?
Yeah, you want to make sure you get these corners in here too. It just makes it a little easier when you get over, get your cut set. You've got a corner to hit. It does ask you if you do want to do this optional cut line. I don't suggest it. It does make the louvers in the hood, or on the right here, makes these I guess usable, makes them work in that respect, but it does weaken the hood quite a bit. So necessarily do you want to do that? Totally up to you. For me, I'm not going to do it. We're just going to do the normal, the recommended cut line and whatnot. So I think we're pretty much getting these done. Just one more. Yeah, those are all done. Okay, perfect. So we're going to get this pulled back off and we'll show you what we got to do, or when we're going to get everything cut up here, and we'll get going on that. So we just did a test run on how to do the hole punches. You do have to make sure that the hole punch is set hard enough that it actually makes a dent. So we just taped it back on. As you can see, we're just going over it again. Just to get everything completed. But yeah, we just didn't do it hard enough. I'd set it probably a little too light. Just didn't want to be cautious it didn't dent the hood, but we got to get going. We'll get this all figured out. This is the tool here that we're going to be using to cut the hood. It's a pneumatic cutoff tool. As you can see there, just a nice cutoff disc, but it's nice and shallow. You can see there, it'll be pretty easy to cut with and whatnot. So anyway, I think we're pretty much done here now. You just got the top ones here left to do. And Okay, and there we go. So we will get this back off, and we'll once we get everything back. Basically, once we get started to cut and everything, we'll get everything going, and we'll give you a better another view on what's going on. Okay, so as you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but if you look, you can see the dents across the hood. Okay, we got to drill most of these out. Some of them you don't, but we got to drill, the majority of them out. We'll get this all done. And what I have is we just got there's our hole saw. Just got a pilot on it. We'll get this thing up, get it going, get a full charged battery. So once we get this started. Another thing that I'm going to probably end up doing as well is where the hinges were. I do have some paint, and I'm going to be touching this up just to keep this so it doesn't rust out on me and things of that sort. So we'll do that, and you can actually see the dents a little bit better now as well, where the pilot holes are. Anyway, we'll get these started here, and we'll. Okay, so basically, as you can see, we're getting the holes drilled out. You do have to make sure that you don't go through both your layers. Doing your pilot holes, not a big deal, but don't go through your second layer with the hole saw because you want to keep the structural integrity of the hood in place. You start cutting holes in all the cross bracing underneath, you're going to lose the structural integrity of it, so that wouldn't be good. Anyway, we'll just keep going here, and we'll catch up to you once we get everything going. Okay, so we've got all the holes cut. Basically what we got to do now is just make sure we get all the burrs off. I got to get everything touched up with touch-up paint. I've got a little tube of it, and we'll get that going from there. As you can see, lots of holes, but I'm excited to get this on. This is going to look pretty nice once it's all done. But just remember, you've got one that you had to do a pilot hole in, but you do not cut it because it's a corner. So it's basically from here to there and to cut like that. So you don't want to have a hole there. Anyway, that's why I've marked it with a X. So as you can see, this is your cutout lines. So you can see here why you don't make a big hole there, because there's potential you make it way out here. So just a drill, we drilled it right on that corner. That just gave us a corner to go by, and that'll give you a nice corner to cut by as well. Again, you have to be cautious. Don't cut through your structural points, in all these locations with your cutoff wheel or whatever you're using, disc grinder, angle grinder, whatever it is that you're going to be using. I've seen a guy use a hacksaw to do it. I mean, whatever you're going to use it, just be very, very cautious of that. Okay. as you can see, we now have a couple of holes in the hood. So what I've got to do now is just sort of get all these burrs off, get some of this stuff out of here, and I got some touch-up paint. We'll be hitting all that with touch-up paint so that we don't get any rust. We ended up using the angle grinder just due to the fact that we didn't have enough capacity of air with our air ratchet or the air grinder to get that done. So anyway, we're going to get this kind of going here, and you'll be able to see what's up. But yeah, we'll get this all ground down, get it all touched up, and we'll be ready to go. Keep going from there. Okay, so basically what we did is we kind of went a little ahead. We were just waiting for the paint to show up. But anyway, we put the louver on. We basically put our footman loop and our bumpers on. And then we just did some, put some bolts in basically just on the corners just to hold it in place. Now we have all the holes drilled. So we're going to take this off now. We're going to paint the whole, well, not the whole hood, but everything we wrecked basically. And we'll go from there. So as you can see, we're getting some paint on it there now. We're going to have to flip the hood over as well. We got to drill some holes out where some of the screws or the bolts go that hold the actual louver on. We got to drill those out so we can get the nuts in the back. So we're just getting this sprayed up, and then once we got this done, like we'll show you what we've done, or when we get the we got to flip it over and do our thing. But anyway, well, you can see here we're just at the last stages here now, putting everything together. We just found it a little bit easier doing it this way, ratchet on one side, ratchet on the other. And basically just a little bit easier to kind of get everything tightened up. One thing you want to remember, don't tighten the hardware up too tight. This is all stainless steel. You go too tight on this, one thing, you may dent the hood, and then also you may gowl all the threads on basically the hardware itself. So you just have to be cautious in that respect. But we have probably, I don't know, maybe half the bolts left to tighten up. And we will be done. So it's looking really good. Pretty happy with the way it turned out. And we'll see what happens with all the heat out of the hood. It actually should make a big, big, big difference. So, well, here we are. It's all complete. And as you can see, I just love the look of it. It looks great. Yeah. So we'll see how much of a difference this certainly makes. Moab, September 2016. So yeah, it is. I just love it. Oh, look at this.